Ravens went down to Houston and had a party. They defeated the Texans 31-2. It's an ugly score. Lamar Jackson completed 10 passes, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, added a 48-yard touchdown run. CJ Stroud, 17 completions, 185 yards, 1 interception. Floor is yours.
I sort of. I mean, we've been saying this. I think we've said it after the Giants. We said it after y'all. And I'm gonna say it again. We excited. We excited that the Ravens are playing well. In all phases of the game. Justin Tucker looking like himself. But we know we've been here before. We've beaten over 500 teams on the road in December. You said that's what happened last Christmas, right? Against the 49ers, right? We've beaten teams, decent teams. Now Houston is banged up, so we've beaten decent teams on the road. Christmas, we've went in December through December and won 3-4 games, and and hitting in the right direction towards the playoffs. So like I said, just like after the win against the Steelers, you're very excited. You're very excited about that. But I mean, it is what it is. Now it's time to go and turn your focus into the Browns and lock up the division and get ready for January football. And I think we've been preaching that, especially Nick, all year. Like, who cares about the regular season? Like, we happy. Like, we get to mess with you, Skull. We get to and have fun about it, about the Steelers suck, and then we get to have fun about what Lamar's doing, and we get to argue MVP races and stuff like that. I mean, that's the fun part of it. But what do we care? Like, we got to get ready for January. We got to get ready for the playoffs. What I seen yesterday is what I need to see in January. What I seen against the Steelers is what I need to see in January. Like, I don't care about December. Like I said, I didn't, usually you watch Ravens game, big play. I just watched it, chill. It is what it's going to be. Like, this is what I expected to happen. They are completely banged up. There's no reason why Houston should have ever been in the game, really, at all. And they wasn't. And the Ravens treated them how they supposed to treat them. They went down there and they did what they're supposed to do offensively. I think the league Lamar is Lamar. I think the league is in more trouble now because now he's starting to run. Now he's looking to run. Now any lane he's saying he's taking off. And he's still keeping his eyes downfield. You saw it right with the Mark Andrews play. He's still keeping his eyes downfield. But I think he's back to, if it's there, I'm taking it, and none of y'all can stop me. And we saw it yesterday for the first time in a long time. He really reached his top speed, and if you start breaking contain, we know that, like Skull said it in his breakdown against the Steelers Ravens. You got to keep him in the pocket. If you start breaking contain, it's night. It's over. And especially if you get out that pocket and you start looking to run and taking those lanes that the defense is giving them, because defenses are afraid to play him. There's a reason why a lot of commentators are saying like he's the hardest person to prepare for ever, really. And he's at the top of his game. He really is. It's not too much you can really say that say too many bad things, if any bad things about Lamar. They fed the run. The offensive they starting to run in between the tackles more now. They adjusted that. They chunking people in the middle of the field. Like I said, it's not too much. The Texans completely banged up. I mean, you play. So like I said, I can empathize with them. We was there last year. What you always say, Keith? We went to Cincinnati with Tyler Huntley, so I can empathize with them. But I ain't showing them no damn sympathy. You play who you play. When you play them, whether they injured or not. Because nobody not going to give a damn if we got Lamar, if we out without this person. When they come to Baltimore and play us, like I said, I can empathize. I understand it. I get it. But do I feel sorry? Hell no. Like I said, you play who you play on your schedule when you play them, and if you dog walk them like you did last night, this is what it's going to be. They got to get better. They got to do what they got to do. I'm concerned about the Ravens. Like I said, we can write it. That's all I got to say about the offense. They clicking. They do what we're supposed to do. The defense, man. Shout out to them. You can really probably write a 30 on 30 from the Ravens defense at the beginning of the season. Like, seriously, it's a complete drastic change. And granted, like I said, y'all was out without GP, and they were out. Who were they yesterday? Banged up without Diggs and Dell, and the Giants are the Giants. But the Ravens in the beginning of the season, even when they were playing teams that didn't have their full complementary players or bombs, they were still getting torched. Like Gardner Minshew torched them. So it's good to see, like, even when teams are banged up, they still got that starting quarterbacks that they are playing well. Shout out to Marlon Humphrey, man. Like, because even through the badness or the ass that his defense was, he was consistent, and he's still playing at the consistent level. He's all over the field. I don't know if it's a damn piece, but I know it's been a lot of adjustments made. We're not seeing Trent Simpson. We're seeing all four cornerbacks on the field at the same time. We're putting a lot of speed on the field. And I think at the beginning of the year, we was experimenting things. We didn't have as much. Now, with Kyle back, it's a lot of speed in the field. It's hard to beat the Ravens in the flats now. That underneath screen stuff that don't work against them. That was working early in the year. Like we were getting gashed on screens and gashed underneath. Now, we see people find, but we got Marlon playing a lot more underneath. And you got Brandon Stevens taking tight ends now. So it's a little different. It's a little different. That is a little different. A lot of the adjustments that they made. But like I said, I'm pretty sure Nick and Keith will say the same thing, man. Like, who cares? We happy, we excited, but let's go do what we gotta do against the Browns. Let's get ready for the playoffs. And we know what the main goal is. The main goal is not to beat, to celebrate after we beat Houston on the road 31-2, or it's not the goal. The goal is just to get better. And my main takeaway is again that we came out the game healthy. Like, and that was our key point going into the game, is to be healthy. We came out healthy, and with a dominant W like that. So just keep it going. Turn your focus towards the Browns and lock up this division, and you act ready for January.
Yeah, definitely echo those sentiments. I mean, Lamar Jackson, what he was able to do in a limited kind of capacity, with playing on Wednesday after a Saturday game and knowing that the bigger goal is the bigger goal. Yeah, you want to compete for the AFC North, but you also want to leave out healthy. I mean, we were able to do a lot of damage in limited type of capacity as far as his exposure. He only threw the ball 15 times, so 15 dropbacks, limited capacity there, was able to gash the Texans through the air. And then also as far as the rushing lanes, he didn't really have to run, but so much. He only rushed 4 times, but he damn near had 100 yards with 87. And obviously you saw that 48-yard burst where no attrition was to be had. He didn't take a hit. He was untouched. That's just because how he does it. But call that a mission successful there as far as getting out of there healthy, making sure our main guys stayed upright. I didn't really like having to use Derrick Henry as much. 27 rushes after he played on Saturday was a little egregious. But at the same token, it was kind of the way the game was going. I knew with Justice Hill being out, it was going to be tough to find adequate backup, so to speak, as far as to take some of those opportunities away from Henry. Yeah, Keaton Mitchell is back, but I don't know if he's back, so to speak. And I don't know if he was if we felt comfortable enough having him in certain situations versus just saying, you know what, let's just keep Derek in there. And then I know Rasheen Ali, he got banged up early, but I guess that was going to be his opportunity to see how he looks on third down. Seems like he was kind of more preferred third down back early on, but obviously he got hurt. So it will be interesting. I expect Justice to be back soon. I knew that was a vicious hit he took on his shoulder and his neck. So no rush there, but hope to see him back soon because I do want to limit some of Derek's exposure as we try to close out this season. And I think that was kind of 27 rushes. I mean, he obviously played great. I just don't want him to get over a certain amount of rushes, but he's a tank at the same token. So we've been conserving his rushes for the most part all season. So I guess that's how they looked at it for this game. And we know we have a little break after this as far as the time between this time and our next game. So he'll be able to rest up and hopefully Justice will be back at that point. But yeah, the offense looked great. Houston really doesn't match up well against us, and Styles always makes fight. As a team that relies heavily on man defense and playing man, it's really just going to be hard to defend Lamar Jackson. I mean, regardless of Lamar Jackson, they were giving up chunks of rush yards to opposing quarterbacks. They were one of the worst teams in the league as far as limiting rush yards to quarterbacks. And here you go playing man against Lamar Jackson. And yeah, it does look like he's back to, and people called it, people being us this summer, like, shit prior to the summer in the the beginning of last all season. He lost weight for a reason. This is the burst that we didn't see last year. It's the deceptive speed, not even having to hit a top speed, but still hitting other people's top speed. That's the difference that he's able to make, especially when he's physically capable of it, as far as at his optimal weight and playing weight. That makes him and makes us much more dangerous. We're over trying to prove that we're a quarterback. When you're staring down a potential third MVP, and me personally, I would do co-MVPs. It's been done before. I don't understand why we have to split hairs when both have been great. And Lamar has won 2 already. It wouldn't be a tragedy if he had a co-MVP for his third. But anyway, for somebody who's playing like that, he doesn't have to prove that he's a passer anymore, passing threat. We're good. Like, if you don't respect it by now, that's fine. Gash these dudes however you need to gash them. If you have to be Barry Sanders and get 200 rush yards and 2-3 touchdowns, hey, my man, in the playoffs, that's what's required. If you got to go out there and throw for 350, 400 yards and throw it over people's heads and do the Jackson 5 thing again, or you can do the Jackson 5+1, add Randy to it, I don't care. Do what you need to do. At this point, you've always been Weapon X. We're over trying to kill the narratives, bro. Like, you're out of here. You set a rushing record in your 7th season. He's gonna play into his late 30s. If he chooses his early 40s, that's how good he has become as a quarterback with his arm. He's just gonna be padding his stats for the rest of his career. That's a record I don't see being broken. And it's like, there's no shame to that. You are the ultimate dual threat. When they talk about a dual threat and you look at like what the ceiling could be, we're staring at it. We got to tap into that, if you know what I mean. Because again, back to the MVP conversation, he could win a third one. If we lose in the playoffs again, who's going to give a damn? We're going to need him and all of what he has to offer come playoff time. And that's really what I'm mainly trying to get back to. I'm trying to get back to that AFC Championship moment, and the way it's stacking up as far as where Pittsburgh is trending, where we're trending, where the AFC is trending, is potential that Pittsburgh could fall to 6, and we could potentially have to have a matchup to where in the second round of the playoffs we see the Bills, and in the third round of the playoffs, AFC Championship, we see the Chiefs. I wouldn't even mind a setup like that where we go through Josh, go through Patrick to en route on the Super Bowl. Obviously, seeding is, any talk about that's presumptuous right now because it's dependent on wins and losses right now. So you could speculate, but we'll see where everybody lands. But I like where we are. And as far as the defense, I think, Zach Orr, I think he got a lot of vitriol, but the people that love to like rag on Zach Orr but defend the Greg Romans, you know what I mean, or say that the John Harbaughs are cool, but the Zach Orrs you got to fire immediately. I don't be hearing y'all now. And honestly, we were critical of Zach Orr, but it was constructive criticism. It just seems like people be selective with their homerism. Y'all be homers for the right people, but y'all weren't homers for Zach Orr. And it's like, the defense, I think 4 out of the last 5 games, they've allowed less than 300 total yards. Like, this defense has done a total 180, and it's not all of Zach Orr. Adarius Washington, that guy, that play he made on Joe Mixon, those are the plays that, weren't being made earlier in the season. And he has been a godsend as far as inserting him and getting what we've gotten out of him. As far as setting the tone leadership-wise, Marlon Humphrey, breaking up that pass on the goal line. It's those little things Marlon Humphrey's been doing all season. So shout out to that whole entire unit. If they are going to be that means we have balance going into the playoffs too. That means we're not having to say we have to outscore teams. That was the formula earlier. Now, the formula is probably still going to be that. I still think you keep your pedal to the metal offensively, but if your defense is going to get you stops, that even makes it even better for you, and it makes Derrick Henry even more lethal. It's all a coordinated effort. Get stops, run the ball with Derrick Henry, kill that clock, and have Lamar just do whatever he needs to do to fill in the blanks. And how can you stop it? I'm getting excited, but I'm trying to keep myself in check. So I'm gonna chill. It's playoffs. It's playoffs or bust.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, we was at the AFC title game last year, so it sting a little different, especially seeing how close we were. Yesterday don't do too much for me though, like they both said. We got to get over these demons in January, and until we do that, these regular season wins, they cool. Like we've seen them for the last 3-4 years now. They pretty status quo at this point, especially when we facing teams that are beat up. So good win by the Ravens. Our offense yesterday that averaged over 7 yards per play. They did what they were supposed to do. They beat up on a beat team. The thing now is you get rest. You got 2 games in the next 18 days with the Browns and then your playoff game. So like I told Keys yesterday, to get through 3 games in 11 days, and no disrespect, but your biggest injury is Raheem Ali in yesterday's game. I'll take that. Just got to maintain the health, get out the Browns game healthy, and then focus on the playoffs. But outside of that, it's pretty much what I expected. I mean, they got the pressure on C.J. Stroud. His offensive line's been abysmal this year. It doesn't help him when you're losing Tank Dell and Diggs. And the only guy who can really get open is Nico Collins, because Michi and Robert Woods are shell of himself. So good win by the Ravens, but that's all I really got. I'm not going to Harbaugh on a win over that team yesterday.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
As far as that's concerned, anybody have any discussion on possible playoff scenarios or any big games this week? I know the Bengals got to play the Chargers coming up. Am I correct?
The Broncos.
It's the Broncos. Excuse me. It's the Broncos. It's one of them AFC West teams. That is a huge game. Depending on who wins that game is going to be really interesting how Cincinnati approaches Week 18, and I think that's this week, right?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely going to be one of the remaining games of the week. You know what I mean? Like seeing what goes on with that, because Joe Burrow, they have an opportunity to have a winning season after all of this, right? And I don't think they will not expend every opportunity to try to make that happen, especially after the offensive season that team has had. I feel like it's a waste to not have a winning season at the very least. So it's going to be interesting. Steelers, you guys are going to have to buckle up and figure stuff out because they are coming.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you though, Nick. Like that, the games this weekend are big, especially if Cincy can beat Denver, because I think all Cincy needs to get in the playoffs is Denver to lose one, and I think like the Chargers to lose one. Chargers got to lose twice.
But they still behind Miami and the Colts. So that even if they beat Denver on Saturday, they still need Miami to lose one and the Colts to lose one.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, they really control on Dusty with Denver. They'll be in front of Denver. They beat them. Well, Denver will still have to lose the Chiefs.
Kansas
so the Chiefs, the Bengals is in front of them, but they still got it's like a 4% chance still. Like it's still hella low. They as far as the Broncos, I think the thing is it is going to happen. They were going to beat the Broncos, and then I think even still the Broncos might lay an egg against the Chiefs. I just don't think Miami losing both of their games and the Colts losing both of their games. I think both of them got easy ass schedules to finish the season.
Does anybody know the scenario for the Steelers to get the 6th seed? Is it just losing out?
Yeah, I can tell you right now.
He got it.
I can tell you real quick, and then because hold on, I can tell you exactly what it is.
Because if they're the 60, we would have a matchup in the first round.
Yeah, they would have to lose. And the Broncos or Chargers, one of them would have to win both of their last 2 games so they can get to the 5. But it is a situation where the Steelers can be the 7th and go to Buffalo too.
Yes, that is possible.
So the Chargers play the Patriots, and then the following week the Chargers play the Raiders.
The Chargers going to win out. So you can count the Chargers going to win out. Yeah. It's the Broncos. It's depending on what the Broncos is going to do. Whether the Broncos beat the Bengals, whether the Broncos don't beat the Bengals, then that's going to change everything.
Yeah, and I think the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow, Bo Nix. I think the Broncos have a good team. I think it's going to be a very good game. I just think they got too much firepower in Cincinnati, and they too motivated. Like the opportunity. Does Cincinnati? What is their playoff scenario? Obviously, is winning out. But
even if they win, they only got a 12% chance to make the playoffs.
They got. That's what the Colts got to lose one. The Dolphins got to lose. That's why the Colts got to lose one. The Dolphins got to lose one. The Chargers got it. So the Chargers won't matter. They beat the Broncos.
They beat the Broncos. Got to lose both.
The Broncos got to lose both to them and then to the Chiefs for week 18.
Yeah, that's possible. So
that's possible. It's just that I don't think the Dolphins or the Colts losing out.
Both have to lose out.
Both got to lose out. Because they both ahead of the Bengals right now.
The Colts
they got the same conference. They got the same record, but the same
Browns too.
Yeah. So they all 7-8.
Yeah, the Colts got the Giants and the Giants and the Jags, I think.
Yeah, so they all, like I said, they all 7-8, but conference record: Colts 6-5, Miami 5-5, and Cincinnati 4-6. So they it's gonna be hard. Now listen, if Miami and the Colts lose both games and the Bengals make the playoffs, I'm done. Like come on now. Like come on now.
Now, so now, I mean, with that scenario, it's less likely that the Bengals make the playoffs, but they might be incentivized to get that winning season and to play spoiler on the Steelers.
If it come down to us playing and beating, well, the Bengals playing and beating the Steelers to send the Steelers to Buffalo, I think they'll play. But I don't. But then again, Jamal in the contract year, T in the contract year. So it's like, I want to hear your breakdown, Scott. That's what I want.
I don't know if I want to see a division opponent in the playoffs, personally.
Like,
if I can help it.
Like, I know y'all happy and excited, but goddamn, like, it's a little different in the. Like, come on.
No. Like I said, I'd rather y'all go to Buffalo.
And I know
in the first round.
Go to Buffalo.
Yeah, we'll talk. Hey, y'all did great. Let's go to commercial break.
Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, let's go to commercial break and unveil my dirty ass curtain, and then we can talk some more about everything that's happening.
Right.
Nitty.
When I want some sports news, Nitty Gritty is definitely who I'm tuning into, man. They show up each week with that uncut, that raw, that unfiltered sports news.
They say the things that everyone else wishes that they can say, but they can't.
Every Tuesday and Saturday, I am locked into my favorite sports show, Nitty Gritty.
Nitty Gritty, the best show out right now. Tune in and listen, stupid.